Hi, Crypto Stylist here, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of the greatest brand stories in modern history, and that is Nike. And the reason why that I really wanted to talk about the journey of the brand is because I find that there's a similar ethos and spirit that of Nike and that of the Richard Hart projects, which is Hex, Pulse, and Pulse Chain. Nike's brand mission is to move the world forward through the power of sport. And they are committed to breaking barriers and building communities to change the game for everybody. And I think that it's really eerily similar to the way that we as a community think, because I know that I've heard on many occasions, and even Richard himself say that we can change the world by fixing the money. Fix the money first, you can change the world. And we are breaking barriers by demanding decentralization, no admin keys, financial autonomy, and an alternative to the government-induced inflation. And we're building communities, much like Nike has done, with our own business projects, with charities, with philanthropy, with tours where we're onboarding people, and even conferences and annual get-togethers. And the camaraderie that's created in these communities is really incredible. So I'm going to start by really highlighting the earlier days of Nike, because I feel like that's more on point for where we are in our journey right now, because Hex is only just over 2 years old. So because Nike's brand journey is quite long. And what you may not have known, that in 1985, when Michael Jordan was signed, he was actually still a rookie. He wasn't famous at that time. And his first choice was to sign with Adidas, but Nike offered him so much money that he took the deal. It's $500,000 a year at the time, which was triple any other basketball deal. He really wanted actually to sign with Converse, was his first choice, and then Adidas, but couldn't get deals with them, so he ended up signing with Nike. And when the Air Force One was released in 1985, the shoe was actually banned by the NBA. It was banned because it was too colorful, and it didn't match the uniform, and it didn't match the shoes of the other players. When Michael Jordan wore them on the court, he was fined $5,000. And Nike, instead of pulling back and saying, okay, well, you can't wear the shoes, or maybe we should change the design, they actually built a whole campaign around it. So I'm going to share with you the commercial.
On September 15th, Nike created a revolutionary new basketball shoe. On October 18th, the NBA threw them out of the game. Fortunately, the NBA can't stop you from wearing them. Air Jordans from Nike.
So what's brilliant about this commercial is that Nike, instead of saying, oh, this shoe doesn't follow the rules, so we're going to pull it, or we're going to change the design. No, actually what they did is they said, you know what? We're going to make a statement against the establishment who's trying to censor what we can and cannot wear. And we're going to make a whole ad campaign around it. And we're going to make the shoe so desirable that all of youth, and we're going to speak to youth culture, are going to be so excited about this product, because it represents everything about rebellion and fighting the establishment and having your own voice and autonomy. And the shoe sold did $100,000 in sales in that year, taking Nike to number one. It is so rare to see a brand that will actually have the audacity to take on the establishment in the way that Nike did. So this was the beginning of the journey where you see Nike really going after controversy, where they're not afraid to talk about the things that other people won't talk about, to confront issues that are, uncomfortable for people, and to fight for the things that they really want to change. Michael Jordan's brand today is Air Jordan is about 10% of Nike's entire business. So the journey for this and for him has been really incredible. It was probably the best decision he ever made was when he signed that deal. In 1995, Nike took on the issue of gender equality, and they launched a campaign that was titled, "If You Let Me Play."
If you let me play.
If you let me play sports.
I will like myself more. I'll have more self-confidence.
If you let me play sports.
If you let me play.
If you let me play. I will be 60% less likely to get breast cancer.
I will suffer less depression.
If you let me play sports.
I will be more likely to leave a man who beats
If you
me.
let me play.
I'll be less likely to get pregnant before I want to.
I will learn.
I will learn what it means to be strong.
To be strong.
If you let me play.
Play sports.
If you let me play sports.
And Nike believed that sport could be one of the great drivers of gender equality by teaching women and girls the value of teamwork, self-reliance, resilience, self-esteem. And they even made statements such as, if you were to let me play sports, that I would suffer less depression. I would be more likely to leave a man who beats me. I mean, they go for really controversial, kind of dark issues and really talking about, I guess, a lot of the struggles and the real struggles that women faced. And this campaign was so powerful, and it sparked a lot of conversations that were probably uncomfortable, but the end result was that the sales in that year increased 26%. Because there was so much talk around the brand. And because I believe that people really, the power of Nike and what they're doing is that they're really appealing to your emotion to get you emotionally invested into the brand. And through that investment, you make the decision to buy the brand. They also attach a purpose to everything that they do. So all the campaigns have a purpose to, in some way, changing the world, right? So in this campaign, for example, you are changing the world by helping women, letting women participate more in sport to lift them up in a way that they can become more productive and more have more outstanding experiences in society. And people, when they feel like they're buying a pair of Nikes, they don't feel like it's not just a pair of shoes, it's not just a jog bra, it's not just a pair of shorts, it's not just a pair of sweatpants. You're actually buying into, you're changing the world. You're helping to change the world by participating in this brand, because that's what this brand is trying to do. So psychologically, you are associating this purchase and your participation with the brand to making the world a better place. And that's really what creates brand loyalty. And in fact, what makes a person actually decide to buy something happens on the emotional side of the brain, not on the analytical side, which is contrary to what a lot of people actually believe. But there's scientific proof to show that. So in order to get someone to subscribe to Hex or to Pulse or to PulseX, you have to appeal to the emotional side of their brain to get them to make the decision to actually go on to Hex.com and make that purchase. And that's what Nike has done. You'll see in 1996, Nike took on the issue. It wasn't the first time, but they really took on the issue of racism through a commercial that they launched when they announced that they were going to be sponsoring, and their spokesperson, Tiger Woods. And the commercial gives me chills. It's incredible. I'm going to play it right now.
Courses in the US I'm not allowed to play because of the color of my skin. But I'm not ready for
they announced Tiger Woods by, again, taking on the establishment, which are the country clubs, which is the most socially and economically elite members of American society, or are members of this club. And in their commercial, make that such a bold statement, to where Tiger Woods announces that he's not allowed to play in several courses still in the United States because of the color of his skin, and that he's heard that the world may not be ready for him. But that's too bad, because it's going to be happening anyway. It's extraordinarily it engaging emotionally, that advertisement with the music, and again, it's because they're taking on an issue that's uncomfortable. They're taking on the establishment. They're not afraid to challenge it, because they want to see change. In 1996, after this campaign, there was an increase of another 36% in sales for the brand, and it was definitely like clearly a number one at this point. When Nike released its equality campaign, this is when they were really full force going after the issue of racial inequality, and did a campaign that was all-star, had LeBron James, Michael B. Jordan narrated, Alicia Keys sang in the commercial. Serena Williams is featured in it as well. And they make the statement that the ball should bounce the same for everybody. And this commercial it evokes so much emotion, and it makes you feel, it makes me love the brand so much when I watch it, that because I feel like what they're doing and what they stand for is so brave, and it's so noble, and it's so needed, that emotion is going to make me loyal to Nike. And this is why this is one of the most successful brands in the world, and one of the most successful brands of all time. And I feel like we have to find our way to, and our issues, and the things that we want to protect, and the things that we want to change, and how we want to prop people up in the world. And I feel like we really do have that within our ecosystem, and within the ethos of how we operate. Look at how there are members who will, do emergency live streams to raise money for somebody in need. How Richard will do emergency streams if he knows that there's been a hack, when Bitcoin was hacked last summer. When, we're constantly so vigilant about protecting each other from all the atrocities and the corruption that has happened, that can happen within this world. And so committed to really building the best projects within the community, on top of already what are the best cryptocurrency projects in existence. So I feel like if we can find our way to engage people through emotions, because if you look at Nike, when they do advertisements, they actually really rarely actually feature the product. What they do is they'll just have, really beautiful music that's very powerful, and they'll have, it's really about the purpose and the change that they want to make. And through this emotional investment that you end up making in the brand, you associate that with the product, and you buy the product. It's not like they're putting in your face front and center, this is what it is. And I think that there's something to be said about that approach, because we're so proud of the projects that are launched, in our ecosystem, because they are the best. They're the best in the world, and these are life-changing for so many people. They already have been, and they will be for so many people in the future. But I think that there's something to be said about the fact that we can, through our actions and what we represent, and our values, and what we put out in the world, without even necessarily pushing and forcing the projects onto people, is a way to really make people curious about us and buy into who we are because of what we represent and because of our values. So I'm going to leave you with this commercial. It is the Nike Equality commercial, and it's so beautiful.
Is this the land history promised? Here, within these lines. On this concrete court, this patch of turf. Here, you're defined by your actions, not your looks or beliefs. Equality should have no boundaries. The bonds we find here should run past these lines.
It's been a long time coming.
Opportunity should not discriminate. The ball should bounce the same for everyone.
Change gon' come.
Worth should outshine color.
Oh, yes,
If we can be equals here,
We can be equals everywhere.
change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will.
Such an amazing commercial. So I'm going to leave you with that to think about how can we approach things differently to make more of an effect and impinge on the world, and also to get them to engage with us and want to get them to be emotionally invested in us and what we're doing by what we represent and what purpose that we pushing for. So that's it for this, trying to make my streams a little bit shorter. And I'm going to continue this brand exploration, and I will see you next time. Thank you.